It's another beautiful day in Kiambu region. We are camped at M-Pesa Foundation Academy, where we are searching for the school that will ultimately be the great debaters. I'm your host, Chris Buru.
And I'm Esperanza Kapanga. Today we're discussing matters fitness and health, asking whether physical education should be made compulsory in all schools. And here to determine the outcome of this debate for us today is two schools that are giants in the region.
Opposing the motion, we have Thika Girls High School, and opposing the motion, we have Skyline Academy. Let us see who will eventually become the great debater. Opposer number one, you have 3 minutes to make a statement.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Abigail Amalagwat, here to strongly support the motion that says physical education should be made compulsory. Carol Rech stated that movement is a medicine for creating change in a person's physical, emotional, and mental state. I will start by defining the terms. Physical education, this is a school subject in which students do physical exercise, and compulsory means required by or rule. On to my first point. Physical education should be made compulsory because it makes an all-rounded student. The goal of physical education is to promote students to become well-rounded and assist them in finding their potential talents, thus preparing them for sport careers in the future, that is, if they will be interested. For example, in the rugby sevens team, Collins Injera, who was formerly their captain, harnessed his talent in Vihiga High School, while the current captain, Andrew Amonde, nurtured his talent in Kisumu Boys. Now, if these high schools were not so strict on physical education, will they have really made it that far that fast? My second point, physical education should be made compulsory since it is a very essential part of growing, developing, and learning. Without physical education, students will have difficulties in learning because physical education stimulates their mind. It opens it up to enable them to learn new things. A recent study shows that 72% more students who had PE made compulsory in their education performed better in other subjects. Now, and also a brain research clearly indicates that physical education improves academic performance. Therefore, as much as learning is the main reason we go to school, physical education has efficiently and effectively boosted our performance in academics as well. And I think it should be made compulsory in schools. Now, we all know that work with no play makes Jack a dull boy. Now, physical education relieves the mind. One frees him or herself from all the overthinking and stressful thoughts by exercising. And the brain needs a break from working for such a long period. Many students find the relief in doing activities, physical activities such as basketball, hockey, and tennis, and this keeps them rejuvenated. It makes them so psyched up about learning because it relieves the mind, it refreshes them, it clears the mind to acquire new knowledge, and that's why I think it benefits us all. It should be made compulsory in all schools. Thank you.
First proposer, you have 3 minutes.
With respect to this podium, I stand before you to give you my thoughts as an opposer to the motion, should physical education be compulsory in our education system. My name is Walubengo Benihin from Skyline School, Muguga. I stand before you speaking about this motion concerning physical education. This is a motion that has been spoken in other places, and I'm going to give you facts about it. The first thing, I want to acknowledge the fathers of physical education. That is Frederick Jan. This is the man who invented physical education in 1800s. And when he invented physical education, he said, I am giving this to the world. Physical education, as I'm presenting to you, it is going to be an instrument that will make you be good in sports, and it is also going to make you be creative, and you're going to reason because it will jog your mind. But he said this has a weakness. Number one, he gave it in doses. He said physical education should be practiced for 30 minutes, 2 times a week. This is the inventor of physical education. Secondly, for gender parity, the mother of physical education, that is Catherine Beecher, who crusaded for physical education in the year 1823, said physical education should also be given to other ladies so that they can also be able to participate for sports. So I have now given you the gender parity. Let's now go to the facts. Now, this motion, we are not saying that physical education is bad. In fact, yesterday we went for PE in our class. So physical education is not bad. But what we are saying is that physical education should not be compulsory. Our education system in Kenya currently, we want to put the new curriculum. And when we put the new curriculum, students will be able to take what they are willing to do. They will do it with passion. My very good friend has said that Kenya, we have Colin Sinjera and Humphrey Hayange. Very good, very good. Fiji is the best in rugby in the whole world. But the education system does not have PE as compulsory. It is voluntary. There is no need of forcing a student to go to the pitch, run, but that is not what they want. I want to quote Dr. Carl Benson of Australia, who said that physical education should be a choice, not a necessity. In our education system, we need to adapt physical education. Yes, it assists, but it is not to be taken as compulsory. On my last point, I want to say this. I believe each and everyone here is taking some subjects in school. Our education system already has loopholes in it. Why can't we concentrate on improving our education system? And after improving our education system on some subjects, we can now take physical education as a subject in this new curriculum. I rest my case. Thank you.
Second proposer, you have 3 minutes for your rebuttal.
Once a great philosopher once said that lack of activity destroys the good condition of every human, while physical exercise saves and preserves it. My name is Jessica Boisabi from Thika Girls High School, and I am here to stand before you and tell you that actually physical activity should be made compulsory. Why am I saying physical activity should be made compulsory? In today's world, we are facing obesity as the highest rising problem in Kenya amongst our young students. And if we introduce this physical education and make it compulsory in schools, it will help curb this obesity that is actually putting about statistics from Kenya Demographic and Health Survey show that overweight and obesity people between 15 to 49 years in Kenya is 23%. People, that is about 9 million Kenyans who are obese in this country. Because physical education is actually being made an optional, it's being regarded as optional, yet in today's education system, it is compulsory. But because of the laziness, schools, captains, so many people who are supposed to implement it and make it be effective, they're not doing that. And that's why obesity is creeping in our students in school, in our kids. And that's why we should encourage more of physical education to take place so that we can curb obesity and the diseases, the heart diseases that it is related to. On to my second point. Physical education develops a student's character. Besides it ensuring that students will be healthy and fit, it also allows students to develop their social skills, psychomotor skills, and interpersonal skills. Like, for example, when the children play sports and games during PE, students they're able to build their spirit of fair play and sportsmanship. So if we actually make it happen and make it compulsory, it will help a lot of kids, realize so much and build them in making them vast in so many skills in this world. And on to my last point, we all experience stress in this life. And if we do not bring forth physical education, it will help in improving, improving the amount of stress that so many people go through. Because research has shown that morning jog and running, it helps you freshen up for the day, It helps you mentally, academically. It opens you up, basically. And if we make it optional, aren't we limiting this? And so that is why I say today, would you rather have a stress-free life? Wouldn't you rather have it than sit down and say that, oh my God, it is optional, so I can go. So live for a healthy life and embrace physical education. Thank you.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for your rebuttal.
Standing here to strongly oppose the motion that physical education should be compulsory in all schools is Lee Leonard from Skyline School. First, I'd like to oppose my good friend here who has just told us that that physical education will help in building character and social skills. I'd like to correct her because I don't think she has looked at the aspect of humiliation in PE. You'll find that PE is a very unique subject because it utilizes humiliation when someone fails. How does this occur? Take, for example, you're running on the pitch. Then, for example, you fall down. When you fall down, other students may laugh at you, and this may lower your self-esteem and ultimately lead to bullying, which is a very big issue among high schools today, and also in secondary schools. Students should be allowed a choice, don't you think? If their parents agree to it, shouldn't they be allowed to have their choice of going or not going to PE? When we force them to go to PE, this is what will lead to bad values, such as forging of documents in the name of sick notes to get out of this PE that they do not want to go. Will this really breed good leaders for our future? We need to think about our future as a country before we impose such protocols in our education. In fact, PE has also proven to have bad effects on a person's health. When you think about, first, you're making a person run. You do not know his lung volumes, his lung capacity, and you're making him run on a cold pitch sometimes, early in the morning or even in the evening during lessons. There are plenty more activities that students can undertake that will help them to become physically fit apart from PE. We have not yet thought of other things such as walking to and from school. When you think about it actually, by a recent survey that was done by the European Parliament, it was found that more calories are burnt walking to and from school than on an actual PE lesson. Remember, Siesto, a scholar, once said that we should take care of our bodies because that is where we live in. My friends, this is a time that we need to embrace the choice of our students, whether our students want to go to PE or not. On to my next point. PE is a waste of valuable time and resources in the school. 1 or 2 lessons in PE may make a small difference to the physical fitness of a person, but it will make a rather big difference to the school budget. Because when you think about it, the school has to have a field where these students will play. The school has to create a whole other department to employ teachers that will teach these students this PE, that will coordinate them effectively. When you think about it, this is a rather tremendous cost to the school, where instead of buying these big fields that will accommodate each and every student, we can buy one small field that will accommodate the students who are willing to participate in PE, and the other funds can be used in other things such as construction of laboratories, such as educational trips, and the likes. And I'd like to rest my case there. Thank you.
For the question session, the proposers have been asked, what will happen to the children with disabilities in schools if we end up making physical education a compulsory subject? And for the opposers, they've been asked, after tabling the fact that we should take care of our bodies, isn't it contradictory to the fact that they're saying that physical education should not be made compulsory? Third proposer, you have 3 minutes.
Will I tend to caution the hard truth for you? I shall not. I am here to give you the basic facts and the reasons as to why we are here this day to propose the motion that states physical education should be made compulsory in all schools. Michelle Kenneth is my name, Thika Girls Karibaribi. On to my first question. And you posed a question to us and you asked us, how is physical education going to assist the disabled in the society? Let me mention and make it clear to you that right now, even at such a time and in this state, we have disabled kids, we have disabled students who go for exercise. There are exercises for such kids. The curriculum that we have right now, the 844 system, seeks to cater for such disabilities. So, should physical or can physical education cater for the disabled? I'll answer you, yes, yes it can. On to my first point. Physical education seeks to bring up something called physical fitness and development. Physical education entails you going to the field, exercising your body, exercising and letting go. Remember, we are all students, and when you're in class, you're confronted to those four walls. We don't expect you to make noise. We don't expect you to jump up and down. We don't expect you to sleep. But, as mentioned on earlier, work without play makes Jack a dull boy. We need you to exercise your mind. We need you to relieve yourself of everything that you have done. Statistics have shown that if you read so much, the disadvantages of something called doing something excess of something, doing something too much. So when we are here to advocate that physical education should be made compulsory. Let it not be something of a choice. I'll tell you something. It's not a bizarre circumstance that we have students, our fellow students, who have diabetes, asthma, arthritis. We do, and we all have such students in our school. Statistics have proven that PE, physical education, exercise, will help relieve such students, and it will help them enhance their physical fitness. On to my second point. Physical education builds teamwork, friendship, and social relations. Remember, when in school, we come from diverse tribes, diverse societies. We are people who have different kinds and forms of thinking. So whenever we're set out right there to mingle and interact, we give a portion and we give a chance to all these different students from different backgrounds to associate, come together, learn something about teamwork. Learn that so that we can score a goal, you need to work together. I'll leave you with a quote from George Washington. He said, "I attributed all my success in life to moral, intellectual, and physical education that I received." But he was keen enough to point this out that compulsory sport do not build character. They reveal character. I want to leave you with a question. Think of this nation being full of students who are outside there who have character. Success takes you far, but only character can maintain you there. Think of students who are out of school, they have character, they can teamwork simply because of something we call compulsory physical education. I rest my case. Thank you.
Karaposa, you have 3 minutes.
Adam Stevens, a doctor by profession from Australia, quoted that that physical education is a choice, but not a necessity. I oppose this motion of physical education should be made compulsory in all schools. I oppose the motion that states that physical education should be made compulsory in all schools. I'll start by answering a question that I was asked by saying that there are so many other ways that we can take care of our bodies, bathing being one of them, avoiding alcohol, and also living a happy life. We are also supporting that physical education should be voluntary and not banned in schools. Those that take this physical education will take it knowing that they have a talent and an interest in the subject. Those that are not physically fit will be prone to some injuries, such as physical injuries and psychological injuries. Physical injuries, such as neck and ligament injuries. Psychological injuries being one that takes the longest and also has a serious effect to the student's future. On to my first point, I'm going to start by stating how the statistics that show of how Australia is a successful country in sporting activities. This being aided by the performance in the Commonwealth Games recently that was taking place in Australia. They realize that sports, like any other specialized subject, is best taught to students who display both talent and interest in the field. Also, students are burdened by multiple examinations. So physical education is just adding needlessly to the hectic schedule that they face. I'm going to finish by posing a question. In which of these two conditions will quality output be displayed by the student? Forced labor or voluntary work? Thank you.
The proposition, you have 1 minute to give your final submission.
All said and done. I'm here to give you a brief summary of what we've just said. Physical education. So what are the advantages and what can we as students benefit from this being something that is made compulsory? One, national unity. When people come together, when we reinforce teamwork, then we're building a good country. We are building something called national unity. Health, academic. And academic is a big bonus of everything. In as much as you are taught on how to do something, you play, we tell you that this game runs this way, then the same intellectuals is what you can apply to your books. Therefore, physical education being compulsory will tend to raise our academic results as a nation, and it's also the curriculum of the school. Team physical education will tend to enhance something called a well-rounded student. Someone who is not just basically based on books. Someone who is smart enough to know what he or she is supposed to do and can be all-rounded and do many things at the same time. With that, thank you so much. And I want to all urge you that physical education being made compulsory is the way to go. Let us not make a mistake of making this a choice, because in any case, it's not a choice. We have to do this. Thank you.
The opposition, you have 1 minute for your final submission.
I want to oppose this motion once again. I've heard this proverb that work without play makes Jack a dull boy. But work with excess play makes Jack a useless boy. Because if Jack plays 7 times a week, do you want to tell me that Jack will concentrate in class or he will be waiting for PE? We are saying that people are socializing, that people are meeting, people are able to discuss. If we can take this situation, if we put great debaters contest to be compulsory for every student, some will be sleeping here. That's why we have put it for those who are willing and those who have passion. So when you come here and tell us that physical education should be compulsory, you are lying to us. And you see, when I read my Bible, and when I also consult my friends from the Muslim community, the Bible has stated clearly that God made a purpose for everybody. You can be a pilot, you can be a footballer, you can be a doctor. When I take all of you in one class and start teaching you about football, where will you use football in an aeroplane? I end and I rest my case.
Abigail, very good definition. And you gave some examples about career development, and you gave examples which were good. However, I thought you could have built more issues that would have helped you as a first speaker, because you were developing more points for the rest of the team. So as a start, there could have been more desired, but that was commendable. Jessica, good facts, good statistics, but you did not give some sources, especially on the statistics that you gave in. I like the examples you gave about health, character, which were commendable. However, your role as the second speaker is to cross-examine what the other team said, so that was not done, and for that you were penalized by the judges. Michelle, I think you stand out for me in the team, and that was very much commendable of you. You're a good speaker and very confident, very articulate as well. However, when it comes to time management, the bell was going several times, and that was penalized as well. Good ending as well for the team.
Skyline, Benny Hinn, you're such a good speaker. You're very eloquent. I could see your passion, and also I love the humor that you brought onto the stage. Then Lee, I heard you speak of biology and talked about lung capacity. Very good. Research done. So you're giving us more enlightenment on that. But my question was, is the lung capacity different for different adults? Is it that one adult has this lung capacity and this one has a different one? Or even teenagers, do they have different lung capacities? Finally, our third speaker, you talked about emotional bullying, has already been mentioned. And so my question would have been, if you are not advocating for compulsory physical education, What then should be done to ensure that everyone is getting to that level of health that is very important for longevity of life? Thank you very much. I wish you all the best.
Thika Girls High School, you were awarded 67%. Skyline School, for the first time appearing on Grade Debaters Contest, you were awarded 69%, making you the winners of today's episode. Thank you so much for watching the Great Debaters Contest. Congratulations to both teams.
Yes, congratulations to Skyline School, clearly showing us that the sky is only the lower limit. As for Thika Girls High School, you live to fight another day. That's it for us here at the Great Debaters Contest. I have been your host, Esperancia Kapanga.
And I am Chris Buru.